Hello, BookTube. I've got a little bit of mail I want to show you today on a beautiful, beautiful Saturday, bright and sunny. A little bit ominous in the airwaves, not in the air itself. The day is gorgeous, made for long dog walks. Uh, the airways are a little bit more ominous. I keep getting hints, consistent hints, that a couple of old friends of mine are preparing to ask me a favor. I have no idea what that favor is going to be. It's almost certainly going to involve writing of some kind. And I'm naturally a little gun shy of that, considering last summer I'm a little gun shy of a new project hoovering up out of nowhere. We'll see. I could be reading it wrong. But I opened a bunch of mail yesterday off camera, and that was bad. And I've got a book and a package. One of the things I opened yesterday I definitely want to show you. And then we've got a package that we can open. And then I think there'll probably be more mail today after I'm done making videos. But if there is, I will set it aside and we will do it tomorrow. But the one I wanted to show you, this is a May release from Viking. Is that right? Yes, Viking. This is Richard King's book, Sailing Alone, A Surprising History of Isolation and Survival at Sea. A nice, hefty thing. I don't have a sheet for this, but let's read a bit about it. Sailing by yourself out of sight of land can be invigorating or terrifying, compelling or tedious. It's almost always all of those. And sometimes all in one morning. But it is also a wide expanse of time in which to think. Sailing Alone tells the story of some of the remarkable people who, over the last 4 centuries, have spent weeks and months moving slowly over the world's largest laboratory, a capricious and startling place in which to observe oneself and weather, the stars, and countless sea creatures, from the tiniest to the most massive and threatening. The author, a sailor himself, introduces characters famous and obscure, from Joshua Slocum of 1844 to modern teenagers daring to take the challenge and starting YouTube channels about it that make them huge amounts of money if they ever live to collect it. They experience strange hallucinations, lie to us and themselves on their travel logs, encounter sharks, befriend birds, and think they have ESP, all part of the unnerving reality of extended isolation. And some disappear altogether. Sailing Alone also recounts the author's own nearly catastrophic solo crossing of the Atlantic and the mystery of his inexplicable survival one sunny afternoon. Because, of course, the author's going to have a fishtail of his own to tell. That goes without saying. And this is the jacket copy here refers to this as an enormously engaging new book for skippers and armchair voyagers alike. And the author is a visiting professor of maritime history and literature with Sea Education Association in Woods Hole, Massachusetts. He's been sailing on ships throughout the Atlantic and Pacific for 25 years, and in 2007 sailed across the Atlantic alone in a 28-foot sailboat. He is the author of Ahab's Rolling Sea, A Natural History of Moby Dick, which was honored by the North American Society of Oceanic History. It was shortlisted for the Connecticut Book Award and was a New Statesman Book of the Year. Okay, there you go. I had to show you this because I squealed when I got it. I squealed when I opened it, and then I realized, no, you got to open everything on camera, or they're going to miss the squeals, because I have done a huge amount of sailing alone, an enormous amount, often on a vessel that was not even 28 feet long, that was shorter than that, and I've experienced a lot of what the pub sheet describes. I actually learned about this book from a book review in the UK press. It comes out in May in this country. I am excited, to put it mildly, about this. I'm excited to see especially the stories that I don't know. I know Joshua Slocum's story. I know a couple of the other stories I imagine will be in here. I wonder if they are the chapter headings. I wonder if they are. Joshua Slocum is a chapter heading. There's a whole chapter on sharks. Well, I would put a whole chapter on whales before I'd put one on sharks. There's a whole chapter on sharks. Any other names that I know? Not really. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'm absolutely going to love this. Especially, of course, I will start with the chapter on sharks. And then I'll go back to the beginning and start reading. But then we have a package that we can open together. It's a paltry thing, but at least I'll keep a hand in for the mail. We'll open the package together and see what we have here. And that'll be just that. I have already a large number of videos today, but there are answers to my 16K Q&A, and some of you might not find that interesting. So we'll do a little bit of mail here. Oh, great. Okay, great. A work of history. Oh, fantastic. All right, this is an April release. from the folks at St. Martin's. This is Stephen Puleo, and this is The Great Abolitionist, Charles Sumner and the Fight for a More Perfect Union. So this is a biography of Charles Sumner, who we've met on this channel. We've talked about. I gave you a little lecture about Charles Sumner while I was preparing a book. I was proofing the taping up the cover of a copy of a biography of Charles Sumner. If I remember, I will try to leave a link to that video down below just so you can know who this person is. Again, I don't think I have a sheet with this. No? No, I don't. This is just coming straight from the warehouse. Let's see here. A groundbreaking biography of a forgotten civil rights hero. He's not forgotten in Boston. In the tempestuous mid-19th century, as slavery consumed congressional debates and America careered toward civil war and split apart, when the very future of the nation hung in the balance, Charles Sumner's voice rang strongest, bravest, and most unwavering. There was one other guy. His name was Garrison, but we'll give it to Sumner in his own book. Where others preach compromise and moderation, it's okay. There were no abolitionists who did that, especially not Boston abolitionists. Okay, he denounced slavery's evils to all who would listen and demanded that it be wiped out of existence. More than any other person of his era, he blazed the trail on the country's long, uneven, and ongoing journey towards realizing its full promise to become a more perfect union. Okay, no offense to the author, but Sumner himself would have given credit to William Lloyd Garrison. So it's ridiculous to say more than any other person, unless you're saying that he's more because he was in legislature. Before and during the Civil War, at great personal sacrifice, Sumner was the conscience of the North and the most influential politician fighting for abolition. Throughout Reconstruction, no one championed the rights of emancipated people more than he did. Through the force of his words and his will, he moved America toward the twin goals of abolitionism and equal rights, which he fought for literally until the day he died. He laid the cornerstone arguments for civil rights advocates would build upon over the next century as the country strove to achieve equality among the races. The Great Abolitionist is the first major biography of Charles Sumner to be published in over 50 years. I think it's just barely. It's right, it's just barely that from Charles Sumner and the Rights of Man. Maybe not. Maybe it's been a little longer. Acclaimed historian Stephen Puleo relates the story of one of the most influential non-presidents in American history with evocative and accessible prose, transporting readers back to an era when our leaders exhibited true courage and authenticity in the face of unprecedented challenges. Okay, and this has blurbs from Eric J. Dolan and also William Martin. That's great. Fantastic. Why wasn't I approached for a blurb? I don't know, but that doesn't matter. Okay, fantastic. Why do I know this enemy, though? Oh, right, The Dark Tide, the Great Boston Molasses Flood. That was a surprise hit in New England. Didn't he do another book that I really, really liked? Oh, it was City So Grant, his book about Boston. Okay. He also did a book called The Caning. So he knows about this subject. So that's fantastic. Great. All right, a biography of Charles Sumner. Great. I wonder, this probably doesn't have any critical apparatus. No, it doesn't. Okay, so I don't know how often other abolitionists are mentioned in here. And that's just the cover copy anyway. That's not the book. Okay, so 2 advanced copies of nonfiction, of intriguing nonfiction. Sailing Alone and The Great Abolitionist. Fantastic. All right, so just Steve's kind of mail haul, even if it isn't, 10 books long. So that's your mail for today. It is simply too beautiful a day. It's not icebox cold anymore. There's no wind. There's no hint of any kind of moisture. So I think the Bean and I are going to spend a great deal of time outside today. But I think you've had enough videos from me in one day anyway. So I'll wrap this up and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.